Wanderlust. A strong desire or urge to wander or travel and explore the world. I've hiked a lot of miles. I've ate a lot of different breakfasts, but I must say, this Mountain House biscuits and gravy is probably one of the best breakfasts I've ever had in the woods while hiking. Alright, doing my part to keep the bears out, keep the campsites clean. I love it. And there's I just seen a river otter or a beaver drop down below that. Good thing I had the damn camera going. That was cool. Maybe he's still up there when we get up there. It might have been a beaver, but don't look like it's too backed up. Oh, he's up there playing. Come here, Lagatha, come here. Oh, that's cool. I just walked up on what could potentially be another awesome campsite. Looks like it's pretty smashed down and some little trails going down in there where people have probably put tents before. And that's exactly what Hunter was talking about, telling me to be safe before I came out here. Trees falling. That's pretty terrifying. Looks like we found the northernmost gate for this old road. Open, which is strange. I mean, I don't know where this is gonna come out at, but I'm actually surprised that I haven't seen a bunch of adventure bike power tracks down through here, because that would probably be something that guys back in Georgia would do. They would be all up in these trails. And so I mentioned a while ago that this that I was hoping we'd follow Lost Creek all the way in, but I was imagining that it would probably turn back. So that's what's happening here. Here's an old sign saying Hiawasee River parking goes up the hill. So right there where Lagatha's at, we're gonna skirt back up this ridge and probably all the way around this knob back to wherever the Hiawasee River parking is. But actually the sign's laying here. Let's see. I'm not sure what that says. I can't really read it anymore. 1 mile maybe to the public parking. Somebody broke the sign down. And the wind's starting to pick up now. It picked up about an hour ago. I've already had one tree fall. And I just heard another one. Sounds like it was way back on up the hill, but now that we're walking up out of this valley, I'm gonna have to really pay attention and keep my ears open for that. And so I'm actually not really sure which way I'm supposed to go here. That's an open road that way, an open road that way. Seeing as how it's showing coming southbound that you turn, I'm guessing I've got to go north. That says 3.2 miles from here to Lost Creek, so we've hiked just a tad over 3 miles already this morning. So gonna ease on up this hill here. This GoPro battery's getting low already. I've recorded a lot more. Well, there's a blaze on that tree right there. I should have been looking for that. I gotta watch those things more closely. Anyways, I've recorded a lot more this morning. Not very long segments, but a minute, 2 minutes here and there, and over time it's just killed this battery, which I started with about 70% this morning. I did charge up the 2 that I used yesterday, so I've got 3 full batteries charged, and I've still got over 3/4 of a battery bank to recharge, so I think I'm going to be okay. I was kind of nervous if I was going to be able to keep all my electronics charged the whole time, but I think I'll be able to at least keep 1 or 2 batteries charged in my phone to last throughout the rest of the trip. But only time will tell, like with everything else. We just climbed about almost 500 feet of elevation down the bottom of that gorge up to this closed gate to this big intersection. There's a road that goes there, road that goes there, which there's a blaze on that tree showing to go that way, and it goes on up the hill. This road looks like it's a little more traveled. I have no idea where I'm at, but after this trip I'm definitely going to look into all these Forest Service roads, because this will be a whole bunch of new territory that I've not ever traveled. Bottom of the hill here, there's a blaze on the gate post. Just right back there though, there's a blaze, double blaze, means you got to go down or that the trail turns. I'm looking here, whatever that is up there is gated. This is blacktop, so I'm assuming that we got to go down. Yep, I see a blaze on that tree down there. I'm not really looking forward to this downhill on pavement, but here we go. So it looks like we've come to an area that we're gonna have to ford. And if I really don't know how I'm gonna do this without getting too wet, because where it shows you fording across, you can't really do. And then you have this strange driveway. If I can walk back up right here on the banks, I could probably skirt across some rocks down there and not get as wet. Skirt the bank back up on that side. I just don't want this guy to come out of his house and be upset. It's a beautiful house on the other side over there. All right, let me figure this out. So I made it across. I ended up skirting back up towards that guy's driveway, going across some rocks back up there. Didn't get wet. Feet didn't get wet at all. I can definitely see how this part of the river, or creek right here, if the water was high, you definitely probably not want to cross it at all. Just passed under the trestle the guidebook talks about, and I'm curious what that is over there. A bunch of picnic tables, some fire rings, looks like some trails walking up in there. Of course, beer cans laying everywhere. Blazes show go this way, but I'd be interested to know if that was another camp area. So that camping that I seen back there must be part of the Outfitters. That's Hiawasee River Outfitters over there. Super old train trestle going across. Seen a dog coming. I can see the big Hiawasee River right over there. It's pretty cool. I'm not exactly sure still where we're at, and I'm considering stopping here at these picnic tables for lunch, because it is 12. But I think I'm going to continue on a little bit and see where we end up on the other side of the river. Left the meeting hall over there. This is the Hiawasee River. Rain's coming in pretty hard now. This is the lowest point on the BMT for the whole 380 miles. Got a little bit of a road walk. Childers Creek Road. Been here one other time. There's this old hotel, and I don't remember exactly how I found out that it was a hotel, but when I came up here with my family before, I took pictures of this same place, and maybe I looked it up or something on Google, and I found a thing on Google saying that it was an old hotel here in Reliance, but who knows. Pretty cool area right here. I know I was reading the map and the book at lunch, and when we get up here to the Towie or Towie picnic area, apparently there's a tributary that comes in, and I'm not 100% sure, but it's actually the ford that I was talking about. It can be dangerous at high water. It hasn't rained enough here to be high water or dangerous, but I don't know how deep it is, and I don't know how much I'm willing to get wet. There is a bypass route if you walk the road all the way to the powerhouse and then jump on the little creek, on the little trail that goes to Wildcat Creek, which I guess is where the BMT, it's actually the route the BMT used to take, and they've rerouted it. So I'm gonna look at the crossing when I get there, and I'm gonna weigh my options. I may backtrack to the road and just walk the road down. Let's go. If it was like, which it is pretty warm today, I'm actually sweating with this rain jacket on, but at this point I know the rain's spotty and I don't want to risk taking it off and then having to stop again if it starts raining, and I'd just rather leave it on and deal with it. It's not cold enough, even with the wind, that I have to worry about getting cold. I mean, I'll probably get chilled a little bit later this evening, but yesterday was different. It was colder all day yesterday. I mean, all day I had a hoodie on until late in the evening, like around 3 or 4. I took my hoodie off, and then I ended up getting super chilled last night right before bed, and went to bed with a bunch of layers on. Ended up having to wake up, well, when my watch woke me up at 3, alerting me there was a storm nearby, I went ahead and took some layers off because I was sweating then, and I noticed that it had warmed up a lot because I was worried about Lagatha when we went to bed last night. It had gotten down pretty cold. But pretty good view of the river here. I could see the bottom from the bridge, so I don't know if they're releasing or not. I know several people that I know have kayaked this. I think it's a pretty popular one to kayak, at least the Hiawasee River. I don't know that this is the exact area that they actually kayak, but it'd be interesting to find out. Seems like if it was releasing, it could be pretty fun. I just happened to look over and notice all these big rock outcroppings up the side of that hill, and I was looking at the map when I was eating, and we're gonna climb. This is the lowest point on the BMT, as I mentioned. I was like 700 foot even when I was on the bridge, and we're gonna climb straight up out of this up to like 1,400 or 1,500 feet to a high point on the ridge, and then up some more and up some more, and then eventually by the time we reach Buck Bald we'll be up around 2,000 feet, 2,200 or something like that, I think. But I've also got to make a decision if I want to continue on once I get down here and make up the extra miles today, or if I just want to kind of hang back, make the miles to Buckbald. Either way, I think I'm going to hit Buckbald tomorrow afternoon. The original plan was Saturday, but I don't know, we'll see. All right, here's the deal. We're on I guess the John Muir and the Benton Mackaye are one and the same for a little bit. Big Bend picnic area that I've seen in the books, 3 miles. Towey Creek, where the ford is 4.2. And Coker Creek, where I was initially planning to camp tonight and then changed my mind, and then now I've thought about it again, is almost 10 miles. And it's 2 o'clock, and so by 7 tonight, that's 4 hours, or I'm sorry, 3 hours really. And I just don't see making it all the way 10 miles to Coker Creek. That's I mean, even though it's flat, that's quite the hike. So I think I've decided I'm not gonna stop here where I'd planned. I'm gonna keep on hiking for sure, and then I'll need to find a decent water source to camp at, especially since I've got Lagatha, so she can have plenty of water. I'll also have to be mindful of not only widowmakers, but flash flooding tonight. Both are going to be the prominent dangers with the wind and the rain. So I may try to camp away from the water, maybe like a 30 or 40 yard hike to it. And yeah, we'll see. Made it probably quarter mile, half a mile down this trail since we've been back into the woods. It is raining, but I can't really feel it. Well, I mean, I can feel it, but it's not bad being in here where the leaves and everything. Something kept getting louder and louder. Flags kept getting louder and louder. Some interesting little rapids. Nothing to be wild about, but pretty amazing how wide the Hiawasee River is. It's huge. I mean, it's got to be 100 yards or better across through there. Made it on down a little ways from where those rapids were so loud. Looks like we're going to get wet whether we want to or not. I'm not sure why the water's holding right here so much, but looks like it's just spilling over when the river's up, which is understandable. All right, Lex, what are you doing? Good girl. So it's not horrible. It's kind of skirt by on the outside. A little bit muddy, but hey, that's what boots and gaiters are for. All right, that wasn't so bad, but tell you what, I'm interested. I'd be interested to know if this is, they've got to be releasing. I mean, the water's all the way up into the bushes and it's moving pretty quick. I mean, I don't think it's any significant. I don't think it's anything, maybe there might be a class 3 on there. I'm not sure. It's one of the, Hiawassee's one of the ones we've been wanting to kayak for sure. Yeah, it's got to be up. I mean, that's a strainer potential right there. I don't think it would be that high without the dam releasing. So back when we came across the bridge, I seen a snake that was ran over right on the road, and I thought it was kind of odd because it's October and it's relatively, I mean, now the sun's went down, it's kind of chilly. I guess I could see where they were sunbathing earlier, but right there at that rock, I heard something moving in the bushes, and it just went, a pretty good sized snake just went right up under that rock. This kind of got me nervous, because if they were out here sunbathing earlier, then, I mean, he was like right here and he took off up through there, so there's no telling. I'm poking around before I get bit, but I'd like to see what he was. He just caught his tail. This is also how you get bit, so I don't recommend doing this. Whatever or wherever he went, he's on up under that rock. I'm not gonna mess with him. Let him be. So now I guess something else I got to keep an eye out for is getting bit by snakes. So I noticed a couple of these plants further back up the trail, but a lot of people confuse these as palmetto bushes or saw palmettos. These are actually yucca plants, and you can actually pick these leaves and you can take a knife and scrape away the top layer of the plant, and it reveals fibers, and then you can braid the fibers together and create a thread or string type material that can be used for cordage to build shelters or tie things together or make a rigged backpack strap. I mean, anything like that. And a lot of times they have a long or white point on the tip that can be used. It's pretty sharp, and you can actually use it as a needle. Been paralleling these large rocks formations for quite a while, pretty much since I've been back into the woods, but I will say it's pretty awesome. First time I've seen a thing to help you get down. What I will say is right back through there, it's getting pretty sketchy coming up some of those places. Leaves are wet. If you fell, you'd go all the way to the river. With the way it's moving right now, there would be no stopping you, especially if you had a pack on. Pretty cool. The trail comes right down to the bank of the water. If the water came up anymore, or if it rained a little bit, you wouldn't be able to get through here. You'd have to go across the top. Don't know that that's ever happened, but definitely looks like it could. See a radio tower way in the distance. We must be getting back pretty close to the other trailhead. I can hear big trucks or something coming up over the mountain. Alright, this is starting to get pretty wild. Coming back down to the water again. Looks like you're gonna have to go across the rock. Getting a big issue, I don't guess. As long as you keep your feet under you. Oh yeah. It's pretty wild. Look at that sucker. It's got to be the biggest yucca plant I've ever seen. Sucker's massive. So we finally made it to another area. Squirrels. So this is Big Bend parking area. This is where when we came last time, we stopped and used the privy right there. God, there's trash can. Offload some more trash here. And I think this is the parking area I was at when I realized that the BMT came through here when we were using the privy, because I seen that marker on that tree up there. I'm guessing they must put boats in here for fishing. This seems like a big fishing river. I know other people kayak it for other reasons, but there's the kiosk with all the information. Don't really see anything on there other than about the bears and the bear and the trout being delayed harvest, and you can only keep brown trout that are over 14 inches long, and you're only allowed 2 per day. Rainbow trout, I don't think it matters, and you can keep 7 of those per day. So I think I'm going to look into getting an out-of-state hunt and fishing license. They also do a winter stocking program here in Tennessee, so they'll start in December and they'll go through March, from what I was reading. So I mean, if I wait till next year, I'll miss half of that stock season. So I'm thinking about just going ahead and getting my license as soon as I can, and then I won't have to worry about missing that half of that season. Don't look too many people's been through here recently. Well, say that, but there's walk-arounds. This is another giant part of the river. I mean, it's just forever across through there wide. Oh look, there's a heron. He just flew. Oh, there he is on the log. And he flew again. This is an interesting way for the trail to come right back over to the road. Through all this damn brush and shit. Why didn't it just stay? Why didn't it just kick you out on the road up there? Alright, I gotta put Lags on the leash and then we'll carry on. This must be what feels like it's one of the sections of trail that don't get hiked that often. I'm guessing that people must take the road, seeing as how it's right there. I'm not really sure why they opted to come 3 foot up the bank and make a trail, but I'm guessing that the guidebook states that the old BMT route followed the road all the way down to the powerhouse. And I'm guessing that people driving up and down the road complained about hikers, or either hikers complained about people driving too fast, and so they decided to route it up through here. But honestly, it would still just have been easier to stay on the road, especially with the wet leaves. And I mean, like right here, you're pretty much back at the road. You see where people's came up and down. It's still part, it is still trail number 2, Benton Mackaye, and 152, John Muir. The John Muir Trail has some interesting blazes. I've never seen a 2-piece blaze before, but the John Muir Trail is 2-piece, so it's got like a small square and then another like sideways or horizontal rectangle above it. I've never seen that on any other trail, not around here. But I guess most of the basic symbols and shapes have already been taken for the BMT and the AT. And it's a quick trail update. I'm still only at like 760 feet elevation. It is 4:25. I've hiked roughly 7 to 8 miles. I don't know exactly. I didn't use my watch today, as I mentioned earlier, but by the guidebook it should be somewhere in the 6 to 8 mile range. I'm currently on trail or en route to Towie recreational area, I'm assuming. Apparently there's also going to be another river or creek there. This way, pup. Come on. And apparently you got to cross. If you don't want to cross, then you can walk the old route that I just mentioned. We'll see when we get there. It's a big good water source. Not that there's not a huge river right over there, but we'll see when we get there. It hasn't rained barely anything today, so I don't see why it would be up. But even if it's knee deep and it's 40 yards wide, I'll have to pull my shoes and everything off and then walk across with all my gear, then come back, help the dog. I'm just not sure that it's completely worth it, so I may skip out on that section and hike on down to the powerhouse anyways. Seems like the more logical thing to do. I'm not scared to cross it. It just doesn't make sense. A lot of the walking I've done today has just been mostly flat walking right along the banks of the Hiawasee. I've been paralleling it since lunch, so for the better part of 4 miles now. I've seen a couple nice campsites, a lot of places where you can get right on the water. It's definitely something that I think I'm going to come back and do a fishing trip on. Hiking fishing trip, catch and cook type deal. Time will tell. This is a pretty awesome section right through here. You can tell people stayed here before. There was like a little fire right there, and it comes up through there. Pretty neat. Gonna go ahead and climb up this little section right here. That's crazy. It's a pretty tough section to climb. See if we can do it without falling. Stay up there, I'm coming. Oh, hit my pack on the rock over here. This is sketchy at best, especially in the wet. But it affords quite the view of the Hiawasee River down there. Some wildflowers. A couple pretty solid ledges down there. Pretty grown up through here. This whole section, since I left Big Bend, has been grown up. For the first time since I woke up this morning, I'm finally into the woods, away from any water, and I can just barely hear the Hiawasee, the roar of it, to my right. But I do have a feeling that this is going to skirt back around the bend and come right back to it, just from what I was reading in the guidebook a little bit ago. I know I think I'm getting away from it for the most part though. I know at some point I'm gonna climb up some more. That was one of the high points back there. And there's another high point that I'm gonna come to, but it's gonna be after the Towee crossing, which I'm assuming we're probably coming up to now. I'm not sure. I see a sign that's gonna tell me. Looks like an old lake. That's interesting. Coker Creek is 5 miles. Unicoi Trails number 83, 6.1 miles. Highway 68, 9 miles. So at this point, I'm less than 10 miles from Buck Bald. Oh, that's a road. That's definitely not a lake. All right then. I'm not really sure where I'm at. I came off onto that road way back there. There's a privy there. This just says National Forest, $3 per vehicle. There's a boat ramp over here. Pretty nice picnic tables though. Come here, Lags. I'm not really sure. I guess they're coming up from the Hiawasee and coming up in here to load. This sign means that we're turning double blaze, so I wonder if it's going to go left or right. It should be left. Too bad there's not a camp area right here somewhere nearby. Be a bunch of good firewood. John Muir, Benton Mackaye, this way. So I need to put the dog on the leash. Stay tuned. Well, I'm glad I put her on the leash because I haven't seen very many cars at all today. And of course, as soon as we pulled out or walked out onto this main road, here come a car flying down through there. So I'm not sure if this is a put-in or a takeout, but either way, there's a boat ramp over there. It looks low. I don't know if that's any constellation to what I'm gonna need for the next Fjord, but we will see. Well, here's the trail going right into the woods right here. So maybe they made it to where you don't have to ford it anymore. Because that book I've got is pretty old. So it's starting to get pretty late in the evening. I'm still right here at the Hiawasee River. I haven't left it pretty much all day. There's this little feeder creek. Ain't nothing special, but I'm gonna go ahead and purify a bottle and 2 more pouches of water, and I'll probably try to drink 1 bottle while I'm sitting here. It's like 5:20 during the day, and I've got roughly an hour and like 20 minutes before final sunset, which means I'm gonna start looking for a place to camp. And if I end up finding a place up in the woods, I'm gonna want the water to help with food and coffee and to stay hydrated overnight. I'm not far from water ever right through here, but I don't want to have to bail on a campsite just because I don't have water, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it. All right, I stopped, and it took me a little longer than what I was hoping, but I noticed earlier when I got water that my purifier was running a little slower than normal, so I went ahead and backwashed it. And then I also bought a brand new purifier that I haven't even used yet, and I've got both of them with me. So I went ahead and backwashed the new one and got it ready to use. And went ahead and purified 2 20-ounce bottles full. Then my older purifier is just a Sawyer, but it's the old school one before they came out with the mini, and the pouch on it's like 32 ounces, I think. And so whereas the pouch on the Sawyer minis are only like 16, I think. So I think I've came to the conclusion that I'm just going to keep the mini in my day pack that I keep in the car, and I'm just going to leave the old one in my hiking bag, because 32 ounces is a lot better than the 16 that the soft pouch holds. But I will say it was pretty nice being able to use that 16-ounce pouch and just screw that mini right on the top of it and drink it straight out of the pouch while it was still cold. So I squeezed down 16 ounces, went ahead and refilled the 16-ounce pouch again. So now I've got like somewhere around 70 ounces of water again. That should, if I happen to find a camping spot up through here, that should get me through dinner and then hopefully breakfast in the morning. I may have to wait on a coffee until I can find water first thing in the morning, but that shouldn't be a huge deal. But hopefully we won't have to worry about that. Hopefully there'll be a nice spot to camp somewhere in the next hour by water. I mean, even if it's just a little trickle like what I just got. I mean, I basically had to move branches and stuff and make a little pour over to get water, but it worked really well. So even if I have to find a small water source like that, and usually I try to find a campsite where someone else has already camped, but I'm about to the point where I'm like everybody else. I'm just gonna start throwing my tent up wherever I want, if it's convenient for me, and going. I'm pretty good at leaving no signs I was there, so I may just start adapting that ideology and not worrying about making a certain place or a certain amount of miles to make sure I have a decent camp, and just camping wherever. Obviously I can't do it on stuff like this because it's a hill and I can't put my tent in the middle of the trail, but you know, when I come to somewhere that's flat and I like it and it's the time, I may just throw my tent up. I'm also unsure what I'm gonna do still about tomorrow and Saturday. I passed a sign way back there that told me I was only like 9.7 miles to Highway 68, and then Buck Bald is only like half a mile or something like that from Highway 68. So I'm about 10 miles, 10-ish miles from Buck Bald, and that's, I mean, I'm still gonna make some more miles of that today, probably another at least one and a half, maybe two. So then that leaves me like 8 miles, and I can make that easy tomorrow. So I'll think about it some more tonight when I'm eating dinner and laying in bed. What I might end up doing is hiking 5 or 6 miles tomorrow, making it an easy day, sleeping in, taking my time in the morning, taking my time on the trail, kind of like what I've been doing today. And then first thing Saturday morning, I'll just have to hike up a mile or two to Buck Bald, which will give me time for someone to be there to get me. So that seems like that might be a good idea. Think about it some more. So for the first time, for real this time, for the first time today, I've been away from the water, and I'm actually hiking away from it. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to skirt around and climb back up and over or what, but seems like we're going into the thick of it again. Back off in the deep bush, which is okay with me. I love being by the water, but man, that roaring was getting kind of annoying after a little while. Got about 40 minutes to find a spot to pitch a tent. I don't know when we'll be doing this after dark again. We climbed back up pretty high, at least for right in this area. If the foliage was off a little more, this would be an awesome ridge line, because you got all this stuff on this side, and probably can't see that well on the camera. I don't know. I don't ever know until I edit it, but I can see for miles out through there. And then over on this side too, it's pretty wide open. I wish this was a little wider. I'd put my tent right here. So that was a blaze on that tree and John Muir on that tree. So we're still definitely in the right direction. The breeze feels good up here. Probably should have taken this raincoat off hours ago, since it really hadn't rained. There's that orange thing poking through the red leaves. Starting to get that time of the evening. It's one of my favorite times of the day. About an hour before the sun drops on below the horizon, cools down, slight breeze, skies turn weird colors. Yeah, this is a cool ridge right here. I mean, really cool. You can see for miles. Back that way too. Just something about staring off a ridge off into the mountains, especially at this time of the year. I don't know if there's a way to describe how a person feels when you do something like that. It's awesome. Best way I can describe it. I didn't end up walking too far from that last ridge. I'm always overlooking the mountains. I found this campsite right here at the top of this ridge. There's a fire pit right over there. Not the most ideal place since the wind is just constantly blowing here, but I checked. There's no real widowmakers that I can see, so we're gonna send it. Got a nice view of the mountains over here. That'll be cool to wake up to right out of my front door tomorrow morning. The weather's not too bad. Got this tree right over the top of me. Looking at it again just to make sure. I don't think it's gonna break or fall. It's rooted in there pretty good. Looks like it's been there for a long time. So this was the most important thing I wanted to get done. I got it done before dark. That's all that matters. The rest can be done as we go. Been a hard day's hike. Just cooking the last little bits of a dinner here. Already ate the MRE. Well, I ate most of that military MRE that I had, but I couldn't get the main meal to heat up with the heater again. So I'm gonna have to do some experimenting when I get back home and figure out what I'm doing wrong with the heater. Why I can't get them to work. And then, so I'm gonna finish up by tomorrow evening. And I've got several extra breakfast MREs. So I'm still hungry right now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and eat another one of these biscuits and gravy before I sleep. So hopefully I'll go to bed on a full belly and get a good full night's sleep. The wind's just constantly blowing up here. I had this door open in the vestibule where I could get to my gear, but it was just blowing so much wind in, so now I've got it closed. I'm feeling a little better now, but it's most definitely dark out there. Lags is just passed out. She's been a good pup though. She did good on the trail. So I think I've decided that I'm just gonna get up whenever I get up tomorrow, eat breakfast, and then head for Coker Creek, and then from Coker Creek on up to Buckbald. The sign that I seen earlier, I already mentioned, it said 9.7 miles to 68, and I've had to have come at least another mile, maybe a mile and a half since I've seen that sign. So I probably got 8 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, something like that to get on to Buckbald. And I should get there tomorrow afternoon, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, something like that. I'm just waiting to hear back if somebody's going to be able to pick me up or not. If not, then I guess I'll just cut tomorrow in half and make it a 4-mile day, and then hike the other 3, 4 miles out Saturday morning. Either way, it don't matter to me. We'll see. Just waiting on a response at this point. Anybody's gonna be able to get me or not. I didn't really plan on anyone picking me up tomorrow, so kind of a last minute thing. I ended up finishing a lot faster than what I planned on. Hiking that extra 5 miles on day 1 really helped out with pushing the rest of the trip along. So we'll see here in a few minutes, or here in a little bit. Anybody's ready to get me.